Today we're making pork chorizo from scratch. Sometimes the ones you buy in the grocery store have a lot of fillers and some chemicals in them, nitrates and things like that, preservatives that I don't like for my family. We try to eat things that are natural, so we're gonna make it from scratch. This is a recipe that was from my hubby's grandmother that we found in an old recipe box of hers. So let's get started. We're using 80-20 ground pork, and that's in this bowl here. I'm using 4 pounds today, but you can cut this recipe down for 1 pound, and I'll put the recipe in the description both ways, for 4 pounds and for 1 pound. So let's get started. I have the pork in the bowl. We're just gonna add some spices and we're gonna mix it all up. This does take time to marinate, so you have to leave it in the refrigerator for a couple of days before you can portion it out and put it into the freezer. Once you put it in the freezer though, it will last for months. All right, let's get started. So we have our pork. We're gonna start with chili powder. This is New Mexico red chili powder. I buy it in bulk and then just put it in jars. You can do it however you like. And I'm gonna do, I have to look at my recipe, sorry. 12 tablespoons, which is probably about quarter cup, but I'm gonna do it in tablespoons just because that's how the recipe reads and it will work out better that way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just gonna take everything I got, just like that. So this is a 6-ounce jar, so that's how much it took, 6 ounces. All right, move that to the side. Next, we're gonna move on to the garlic powder. And this is gonna be 4 tablespoons of garlic. And you can use crushed garlic as well in this if you'd like to. That's completely up to you. The amounts of all of these spices really depend on your taste. So if you use this recipe and you think, oh, I'd like a little more garlic or a little less or whatever, then change it up to however your family likes it. This is what we like. So oregano, we're gonna use 1.5 teaspoons per pound. So that's gonna take us to 3, 6, 12 teaspoons, which is 3 tablespoons. So roughly. The measurements are not exact, like I said. Measure with your heart. And then we're gonna do cumin. And cumin is very, very strong. So it's generally about 1/8 teaspoon per pound. So if we multiply that by 4, that's gonna give us a teaspoon. So we're gonna put that. And crushed red pepper is really subjective. You don't have to put this. Some people think it makes it too spicy. We like a little bit of a kick, but not too much of a kick. So for this, I'm gonna put 2 teaspoons of it, and we'll see what it looks like once I have it all blended together. But again, you could put more depending on your taste. And the next is vinegar. I forgot a measuring cup. All right, so I have my measuring cup. We're gonna do 1/4 cup roughly of vinegar. That's a little too much. About 1/4 cup. And I did add some minced garlic as well off camera. And now we're gonna add salt and pepper. So we're gonna do a tablespoon of pepper. I'm sorry, of salt, a tablespoon of salt. And 1/2 tablespoon, which is 2 teaspoons of pepper. And again, the spices are subject to whatever you like at your house. And then I like to wear gloves just because I don't like getting super messy, and working with meat, your hands get greasy. So I like to put gloves on, and we're just gonna mix it all up. Alrighty. And so you're just mixing this like you would mix a meatloaf. Whoopsie, escapee, come back. All right, so this is what it looks like when it's all mixed together. Should resemble some sort of a reddish orange color. You can see the spices distributed nicely. And now we're just gonna bag it up. So I have freezer bags that I mark what they are and the date. And I'm gonna roughly divide this. We like it about roughly 3/4 of a pound to a package. So I'm just gonna kind of roughly divide it up like this. And then we'll take a bag. And we'll take a scoop. More on that one. And put it into the bag. And we'll flatten these out. We'll place them all in the refrigerator for about 2 days. Once it's marinated enough, every day I kind of go in and kind of squish the bag a little bit because you'll see some juice coming out. I just like to reincorporate that. And then my husband's behind the camera sniffing the air because it smells so delicious, even just like this. If you'd like, you could take a little piece, if you weren't sure about your seasoning amounts, you could take a small piece of this, cook it up in a pan really quick, taste it. It's not gonna be 100% because again, those spices need to marry with the meat and marry all together. But that would give you a general idea if you were too heavy on something where maybe you needed to add a little more meat, or you were too light, maybe it needs some salt or some extra vinegar, etc. So this would be the time to do that. And then, like I said, put it in your bags, put it in the fridge, let it sit for a couple of days. All right, so this is the chorizo that we made 2 days ago. And we let it sit and marinate. Like I told you, we would sit it in the fridge. The other packages I've put in the freezer. Well, my son came and stole some, of course. But I put them in the freezer, and then we're gonna cook this one up today. This is about 3/4 of a pound. Just shake it out of the bag here. I have my pan on medium-high. And I have some eggs waiting over here on the side where I've just cracked, for 3/4 of a pound, I use 9 eggs. So I've cracked the eggs over here and put a little bit of half and half and some salt and pepper, and we'll scramble those up here once this meat starts to get going. And you'll notice as this starts to cook, and you may already be able to see it, that this is gonna cook up like it's hamburger. So it's gonna be chunky pieces, and you can make those pieces as small or as large as you like. It's different than, say, the chorizo that you buy in the tube. Excuse me. That is a lot of grease, and this is not gonna have very much grease. There is some because the ground pork we used is 80/20, so there is gonna be some grease. But that grease, first of all, fat's flavor, but that grease is what's gonna help us cook our eggs. So I don't drain it. If you like to drain it, that's up to you, but I don't drain it. All right. We like ours pretty chunky, so I'm not going to cut it too fine. It cooks up very fast, just like ground beef does. And that's a great point to bring up, that if you don't like pork or you don't eat pork for dietary or religious reasons, you can make this with ground beef as well. Ground chicken, ground turkey, any ground meat would work. You can see just how fast this is cooking up. We like ours to get just a bit toasty, get a little bit of a crust on it, so I'm just gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes like this. All right. Pretty much done. And you see there is a little bit of grease in my pan, but not much at all. Scramble up our eggs. I just use a fork, but if you want to use a whisk, go right ahead. And you don't have to put half and half in your eggs. That's how I like to do it. My family likes our eggs nice and fluffy and creamy. You don't have to do that. You could use egg substitute for this as well if you like that. Scrambled eggs come in the carton. Also, just egg whites will also work well for this. Alrighty, let's get them in. We're going to turn our heat down to medium. And just start moving them around. Okay. And the egg looks like it's about done. This is what we're looking like. And the ratio of eggs to chorizo is entirely up to you and your family and how you like it. We like a good mix of chorizo and egg, but some people like it with more egg forward, some people like it more chorizo forward, just whatever you like for your family. All right, we're gonna turn this off and take it off of the heat. Lid halfway so it doesn't steam up too much. As you see, I have some hash browns going on the side here. I'm gonna stir those up. Get a nice crisp on them. Okay, as you can see, all done. I plated it with some refried beans that I already had made. Those are fresh as well. If you want a recipe for those, let me know. And then some hash browns that I made up. And these are homemade flour tortillas. If you want to see the recipe for these, look here. And let's take a bite of this chorizo. Delicious. Not overly spicy, but has a great spiced flavor. That's perfect. Well, don't forget to like us on all of our social media platforms and leave a comment here about some more recipes that you'd like to see me make. Give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye.